This week on Losers of Initiative.
This is our tactic. This is our interrogation tactic.
Just awkward.
Awkward, friendly.
Awkward the crap out of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you anything.
I'm going to go up while he's shaking his hand and begin hugging him from behind.
Just start shoulder rubbing.
Yeah.
All right, so the morning comes way too early as you wake in your room at Faye's boarding house. And those of you that took the worse for the wear in last night's barroom brawl are a little sore, but because none of that damage, in game terms, none of that damage was like lethal. It was all barroom brawl, so all of your wounds have healed as far as damage you've taken, because it was just temporary damage.
Hooray.
So, old lady Faye said that there was going to be breakfast for you guys downstairs.
Okay, so I'm just going to head on down and see what's cooking.
All right.
Downstairs we go.
So you go down, and it smells like flowers and coffee as you're going down the stairs.
Flowers.
Yes. She has this obsession, because outside there was garlands of flowers and stuff all on the porch railing and on the door and stuff. And you go downstairs, and sure enough, she's got several flower pots and all kinds of plants out. And she's got breakfast. And she's actually bringing it out to the table, which is already set with your 3 place settings.
There's only 3?
There's only 3. Okay. Yep. And she's bringing out, eggs and bacon and toast and stuff. And she's like, "Good morning. Did you sleep well?"
Grug's eyes get very big as he looks at the bacon and eggs.
No.
Oh, you're so cute.
So there's a question I have then. This is not a meal that would generally be appealing to Zerosi.
Right.
But is it because of the new bodies?
Your sort of personal preferences do trump they take over more so than the body that you're inhabiting's preferences. But, there is that subtle...
I mean, regardless, I'm going to eat it to be not, right,
be
you
would eat it, but yeah, there's a lingering...
And we'll see, maybe it tastes better in this spot.
Right, in the back of your mind, there's bacon doesn't sound that bad, actually, even though Zerosi wouldn't, be excited about it normally. But yeah, that kind of stuff is still prevalent in all that you do. But anyway, yeah, she's really friendly, greets you. You guys sit down, and it smells delicious, tastes delicious. And right as you're finishing up eating, she comes out, and she's holding a sort of a navy blue outfit, suit. And she kind of goes over to Oren, and she says, "This was my husband's. You're about the same size. I wonder if it would fit you."
And I'll just take it and I'll start to kind of press it up against my body to see if the measurements kind of fit.
Almost uncanny how perfect this would fit.
And I really want to ask if she has a black suit, but I'm just going to take it and just say thank you, so...
And she kind of has a little twinkle in her eye and a sweet smile.
And then I'm getting kind of weirded out now that she's turning me into her husband.
Exactly. You can you get those vibes.
Grug think this is awkward.
So what are you boys going to do today?
Hunkway think we go visit a man named Kevin Legrand. You heard of?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Legrand. He runs the assay office, the land office here in town. He's a nice fella. Foreign accent.
Hunkway have no follow-up question. And he's going back to eating.
It just keeps eating.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, she leaves to go about her daily chores. But before she does, she kind of looks at Oren again and smiles as she walks out.
And I politely tip my hat that's not there and wink at her.
Yeah, so we're going to leave. We're going to go look for the land office.
Okay. Promise City's not a huge town. You walk around for a little while before you find it. You do notice not a big deal, but you do notice that there were several people about the streets that kind of gave you guys a second look kind of thing. Like strangers in town kind of thing. Or maybe they heard about the barroom brawl.
Or maybe I look fly in this suit.
Yeah, did you put it on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I put it on before we left.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Already gaining that reputation.
Yeah.
Yeet.
But yeah, you find, it just says land office above the door, even though that you in France is the only one that can read this writing. Now, like, for example, Ovac was literate back in Greyhawk in the D&D world, but here you can't make out the strange scribblings. You're apparently you don't know how to read.
It looks like Elvish to me or something.
Yeah, some language you don't know is written, and you're kind of frustrated by that fact.
Yeah, I spend extra time going into each place and just, like, I'm basically a dad in, I don't know, Abercrombie and Finch or something like that, being like, what?
Just awkward, staring at stuff. Grug, yeah, nothing, or I guess Honkwe, nothing's unusual for you. You
Yeah.
couldn't read before, still can't read. But yeah, you find the land office, which, Ewan points out. You guys go in. It's a relatively small building, It looks like he lives here, small, meager house with his office in the front of it. Because as you walk in, it's like a living room with a bunch of bookcases with just book upon book labeled different parcels of land or something, just to keep track and record of all that stuff. And as you walk in, he's coming into the room and he says, "Hello, what may I help you with today?"
We're here looking for one Kevin Legrand. Is that you here?
Yes, you have found him. He is I am he.
All right, well...
He kind of keeps, as he makes eye contact when he talks to you, but then immediately shoots his glance over kind of to Honkwe, the Indian, very large Indian fellow in his land office.
So, knowing this, I'm going to actually kind of... I want to step forward, offer a handshake, all that, but my goal is to handshake myself directly between them,
Right. Yeah. Okay.
My name's here, Ewan. Ewan L. France.
That is how ironic. I am from France. I know you maybe don't tell this by just first talking to me, but I am French.
Well, on our way here, the train we were on ended up getting held up, and one person that we've been led to believe might know you.
Yes, you were on the train when Dr. Gustafsson was kidnapped.
Yes.
Yes, he is my wife's uncle. He has come from far away.
So we were just wondering if you knew why he might get kidnapped off a train like that.
I have no idea. When I went to receive him at the station, he did not get off the train, and they explained to me that he was taken as the train was held up, and he was taken from the train by force. And I was beside myself with grief, but my wife, when I broke the news to her, she has gone into her room and has not come out since. Our little boy has been her only consulting relaxation point. She won't even speak to me, she is so distraught.
Honkwe wonder, do you know of whereabouts of Goose in Offsen?
No, I do not. He is, like I said, when I went to speak to the sheriff, he could give me no help. He said he was very busy. This was an outsider from outside of town, and when he would get time, he would go help me look. But I do not know where he is.
Anyways, I'm gonna go shake Mr. Legrand's hand. And I'm just gonna ferociously shake it up and down, like one hand shaking and then the other hand on like his forearm, like that.
Honkwe say, Orin not stop until you give us information.
I'm very confused. He kind of looks over at Ewan. What, I do not know what your friend is saying.
This is our tactic. This is our interrogation tactic.
Just awkward.
Awkward, friendly.
Awkward the crap out of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you anything.
I'm going to go up while he's shaking his hand and begin hugging him from behind.
Just start shoulder rubbing.
Yeah.
Our friend here just wanted to express gratitude for talking to us and was also curious. I know that the missus is not speaking, but whether or not we could at least try to ask any questions there.
Well, I can... I am going to respect my wife's desires to be left alone. Little Benny, he speaks with her. Maybe he can help you.
That would be good. Maybe she'd be a little more willing to talk because of the fact that we're hoping to figure out what's going on. That might save this Felix. Who knows what's going on there?
All right. Well, Benny! Clumping down the stairs is a young boy, probably about 9 or 10 years old. And he looks over at you guys, and his eyes get huge. And he says, Mr. Ovak! Mr. Ovak!
It's me!
Oh my God!
And Legrand kind of looks over and says, Benny, these are guests. I do not know what words you scream out loud when you see him. And ignoring Mr. Legrand, what you now realize is Neeb just barrels down the stairs and just runs full force right into Orin's chest with arms out and hugs him.
And I hug him back.
Okay, and he's like, oh my gosh, Mr. Ovak, I was so scared. I didn't know what was going on. All these weird thoughts are in my head, and I'm in a strange place, and there's my mom, and I have a mom now and a dad, and everything's weird, but I don't have a mom and dad, but I know these are my mom and dad, and I don't know what to do.
Calm down, little one. You are safe now. We will protect you.
And Legrand just hears your gibberish talking to his son, and he kind of he's just bewilderment crosses his face, and he's like, excuse me, do you know my son?
And then I just shake my head no.
Shake his hand again.
And then I'm going to explain to him, knowing that he doesn't understand,
Okay,
so I'm just saying something.
You say whatever, and then, and he just hears the high-pitched gibberish that Orin puts forth.
Because I know that that's what he hears, because I'm not going to try and explain
Correct,
what's
and
going
he
on.
still gets frustrated. He looks at at Honkwe, and then he looks over at Ewan. He's like, please, make sense of what is going on. Little Benny, come here. And Benny, obviously Neeb, kind of in confusion, because he knows this is his dad, but it's not. Kind of lets go of you and kind of looks over at, Kevin Legrand, and walks over. And yeah, Dad. And obviously you are hearing Neeb's voice, but Benny's voice is what.
It's like a French German,
right? Probably a little French German kid,
which sounds like.
Yeah, right.
For our listeners. Brad.
It sounds like a French German kid.
Just Google French
he
German kid.
He kind of goes over to his father and is like, can we have these guys stay over? Can they stay for dinner? And Mr. Legrand, still confused, says, no. They are concerned. They are here to help with your granduncle. With your mother's problem and the granduncle that disappeared. They are here to help. And Neeb immediately is like, whoa, they'll find him. They can do anything. They're great. I don't understand. Benny, go away for now. I must talk to the guest, please. Go check on your mother, please. And he goes upstairs. As he's holding the railing, walking upstairs, he keeps looking at you guys, smiling and nodding, like, yay, something's making sense in this world.
I do a thumbs up to him as he's walking away.
Okay. So there you are. And Legrand's confused look is still on his face, obviously, and he says, well, obviously there's some confusion here. My son would like you to stay for dinner, but and if you are truly going to assist in finding his uncle and my uncle, that would be great.
What kind of scientist is Felix?
He deals with human anatomy, like the makeup of the body. I think his specialty was bleeding and blood, for finding cures to sicknesses, illnesses.
Hunkway have blood.
Oh, that's good to know.
So you had said that that Benny here is the only one that your wife will speak to, and that we could potentially go through Benny to get a little more information. Can we call Benny back down? And
perhaps we can do this over dinner tonight.
Does your wife come out for dinner?
Unfortunately not. We have to take the food up. Benny takes the food up to her. My son, who has been very strange recently, was very excited to see you. So this makes me happy. And so I would be honored if you would come for dinner tonight. And perhaps we can talk further about this predicament we are in.
No. And I stick up my thumb to
Give him a thumbs up.
Yeah, for dinner.
All right. You guys exit the land office. And it's, like I said, it's pretty early in the morning, so you got about 8 hours or so until dinner time.
Well, we should go speak to Miss Campbell then.
Yeah, I
And
think that'd
see
be
if
the
we
next
can
stop.
Find out some more information about this disappearing husband act.
Yeah, I like Miss Campbell.
Uncways say,
Don't we
onward.
all?
All right, so you decide to follow the directions that the sheriff very briefly summed up and gave you. To the best of your knowledge, it's about 3 hours outside of town via a horse ride.
Well, then we better get horses.
Indeed.
Let's get a hold of Mr. Italy. See if we can get some horses from Italy and head out to see Miss Campbell.
Yeah, let's do it. I like it.
Okay, so you make your way over to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff is actually not there. But sure enough, Mr. Fazio is. He's kind of sitting at the desk. He's got a pencil and paper, and he's writing something. Really confused look on his face. And you walk in, he looks up. He says, "Hey guys, how's it going?"
No. And then I'm gonna ask for if we could borrow some horses because we got to go on a trip out of town.
Through your mumbo jumbo, Italy is probably the person that understands it the best that you've come across. And he, through your gestures and your mumbling and stuff, he does manage to decipher it enough to say, "Well, I'm not supposed to just lend out horses. That's kind of against the rules, but heck, I know you guys, and you're doing us a favor. I'm sure I can arrange. Just head on over to the livery station. I'll come with you. That'll make it easier." And he walks out with you. He says, "Follow me, y'all." And you follow him.
Yeah.
Okay, and he takes you to the stables, and he goes to the side to talk to the stable master for a little while, leaving you guys standing there looking at all the horses. And he comes back. You've seen riding horses, and you've seen war horses, and you've seen all kinds of horses in your D&D life. These horses definitely look like they're not made for war. They're made for speed. They're not war horses by any means. They would be considered in D&D terms riding horses. Anyway, so you get some horses and saddles and stuff, and Italy's like, now, Oren, Dutch, make sure you get them back, because I'm putting my neck out for you on this one. Oh, I know. I figured you as much. And he slaps the horse on the hindquarters, and you guys take off south, heading for the homestead of Miss Campbell. And so you guys arrive. It is about 2.5, 3 hours south. And you see some structures outside of town. There's a couple other farms and an old church and stuff, but you just kind of ignore it because you're kind of in a time crunch. And you push on through. You get to the homestead, and sure enough, there it is. There's like a little barn and a little house, pretty meager. And she's got a small fenced area where she's growing some vegetables or something, a little pond outside. It's the house, the barn, a well, and an outhouse. There you go. And as you're riding up, she can obviously hear you on the horses approaching, so she kind of comes out of the front door onto the porch of the house. And she's looking as magnificent as you remembered.
Yay.
Straight, smooth, blonde hair, shoulder length. She kind of moves her head from side to side, and the wind blows. And
Kind of gets in her face.
a little bit in her face.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you guys approach, and she's standing out there, half surprised, half happy to see you.
And I have a giant grin, like the widest grin I could muster. And do I have many teeth?
You have most of your teeth.
Oh, okay. So I was picturing like.
Are they white?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just smiling
I
away,
think-
and I'm just moving back and forth as fast as I can, waving at her.
So you get off your mounts, you get off your horses, and she kind of walks out to you, and she walks right up to Ewan, and she says, "Well, howdy. I remember you folks from the general store yesterday, but what business do you have coming way out here to see little old me?"
And before I start to dust everything off and like pull up my suit and make it look all nice and fancy for her.
Okay.
Well, now, yesterday after we saw you at the store, Patch here let us know that there'd been some misfortunes around, and we want to make sure that things were going okay with you, as well as we're trying to gather some information. Seems Mac had disappeared some time ago, and then yesterday on our way into town, one Felix was also snatched up by the Dotcher boys. So we're just trying to gather whatever information we can.
You think the Daughtry boys are behind Mac's disappearance?
We don't know. That's why we just wanted to see any information we could get.
Oh, well, I don't know. He just went out to work one day in the past year, and he just never came back. A lot of folks say he just run off.
But to my understanding, took no horse, took nothing, just...
Nothing with him at all.
That sounds more to me like somebody done snatched him.
Well, I'm still pretty distraught about the whole thing, but, life must go on, and I have to do my job. I have to take care of this land. It ain't going to take care of itself, whether Mac's here or not. So I'm just doing the best I can.
And that is perfectly admirable for you to be so strong in this situation. But we're hoping we might be able to get a little better resolution than just moving along.
Are you here to help me run the land while Mac's not here?
No.
One of the three of us apparently is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm more than willing to help her.
With all of her needs. Hunkway wonder where spot of disappearance occurred.
Well, he went out to work in the pasture, and she doesn't... Okay, this is worthy of note. She's the first person that you've actually spoken with that looks Hunkway in the eye, doesn't even think twice. Like the most accepting person that you've met so far of Hunkway. Well, he went out to work in the pasture, and he just didn't come back. He, went out in the morning, and, normally he comes back in a little after noon to get some drink and some food, but he didn't. I started to worry then, but not too much. But when he didn't show up for dinner, I knew something was wrong.
Hunkway wonder which end of pasture.
I don't know.
Grug neither.
You're more than welcome to go look.
Yeah, I am gonna go out there. Because I belig I have like survival and tracking and
right.
stuff. Yeah.
So
I want to go out there.
Right, that's one of those things that you just realize that, Grug, the barbarian, had tracking and stuff.
Yeah, it's very familiar.
So you started to go out there thinking you could do it, but then you realize that you can do it.
Yeah.
Because...
It's a little different. You're not looking for...
Correct, but it's the same in some ways.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so Hunkway is making his way toward where she directed him.
Hunkway be back.
Toward the pasture. And Orin, you kind of eagerly to help out, and she kind of looks at you and notices that, and she says, well, if you're not going to go with your friend, I suppose you could help me. There's some fence posts that need to be worked out.
No. Just show me the way, and I'll put that fence post in hard.
Eager tones and positive gestures are easily translated. And she points over to the barn, and she says, well, if you go in the barn, you'll find some tools right by the wagon. Go ahead and grab those. There's a couple horses in there, but I see y'all got your own horses. Them don't look like work horses, though. No. Feel free to, saddle and bridle up with the horses out that I got in the barn.
And I just pat my biceps. And I'm I don't need no horses.
And she sees that your spaghetti arms are...
With all the extra skin hanging below it?
Well, he's got a suit on, so he can't really see.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay.
But yeah, he's a 5'5" scrawny old man, and she's like, No.
And I start heading for the barn.
Okay. And then she just looks over at you and, well, looks like it's just you and me. Would you like to see the inside of the house?
Do it.
Do it.
Well, that sounds great. We can talk a little more inside.
All right. So, Orin, you easily find the tools, and sure enough, the horses are in there. You gear them up. The barn is actually pretty well stocked. There's, hay for the horses, several parts for a wagon that you also see in the barn. It's a two-wheeled, well, it's like more like a cart, really. But, it's a two-wheeled deal that's got the two poles sticking out that you put a horse in between, and the horse pulls the wagon or cart. And, there are two horses in the barn. Both are very sturdy workhorses. And in another section of the barn, there's all the horse gear, saddles, connectors for the cart, and all the stuff that the horses need. It's pretty well stocked. So obviously they're doing pretty well. I say loosely because now it's just her, but she's doing pretty good.
And how long has he been gone?
I believe they said a couple weeks. A week to 2 weeks.
Okay, because I mean, like, if everything looks shiny and new, like it's well taken care of.
Yep. So either she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. Or she's having some help. Or yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, something.
Okay.
Something's
So
a little fishy.
Right. And as you're finishing, getting the tools that you need to fix a fence post, which you're just kind of guessing, but somehow you're guessing, but you're right when you're doing this. You're like, I know what I need to get to fix a fence post. I know. So, but anyway, you're gathering that, and as you're finishing, into the barn walks an older man. He's not little scrawny little old man like you, but he's a bigger, older gentleman. And as he walks in, you smell him before you see him. The reek of booze coming off this guy is very potent. What are you doing in here?
No. And I like do gestures to like grab fencing material and fixing that.
And as you kind of turn and start saying that, you notice that he has a shotgun in his hand. And he was pointing it at you, but as you turn and start talking, he kind of lowers it, and his face he sees you and like you're no threat. He kind of lowers it. He's like, Are you telling me that Miss Campbell sent you in here? I don't even know who you are. Here, why don't you come with me? We're going to go talk to Miss Campbell.
And I go with him.
Okay. Honkwe, it's taking you a while to get out to the pasture, so we're doing this is kind of real time in going on here. Miss Campbell leads you up onto the porch and into the house. So you go into the house, and it's basically a large one-story. Well, it's actually not large. It's a modest one-story house. When you go into the door from the patio, there is a large room that is both kitchen, dining room, and living room. Okay. You notice that in the opposite corner from where you came in is a door that leads outside, obviously the back door. And there are 2 doors leading out of this room. So it's basically a large central room, which is the kitchen, dining room, living room, and it's got 2 doors leading to other rooms, probably bedrooms, you're guessing, on either side. And she kind of immediately says, well, this here's the living room, and it looks pretty nice, simple but nice. And she goes, That's our room. I'm sorry. I guess it's just my room right now. Pointing to one of the doors, and she says, "And here's a spare room. That's where Dusty sleeps when he's around."
Oh, Dusty? Who is this Dusty? No.
Oh, Dusty. He helps me out from time to time like I said, whenever he's around. But he's not around that much. He sort of has a slight drinking problem, but he's real helpful when he's around.
Well, I'm glad to see that you've been able to handle the place on your own since Mac disappeared. But I was hoping to get just any information, whether you think it's relevant or not, on that. Is Mac known to socialize with some people that maybe you shouldn't be?
Okay. As you're saying this, you hear heavy boot steps on the porch. She kind of holds her hand up like, wait a second. She turns and looks. And she says, well, here's Dusty now. And the door opens up, and a large older man carrying a shotgun in his arm is escorting Ovak, or Orin, into the house. And he says, pardon me, Miss Campbell, but this here fella says, well, I'm assuming he says, that you gave him permission to go through the barn.
No. And I just start waving.
Yeah, and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dusty. Yeah, that's fine. He's gonna help fixing on some of the fence posts. I didn't know if you was gonna be around today or not." Well, Miss Campbell, I do appreciate offers for assistance, but I think I can handle it. Oh, come on now, Dusty. Just accept some help. He's gonna help you. You guys work together and get the job done.
And I pat him on the back and I go, come on, and gesture to the outside.
Yeah, and he kind of sighs and shakes his head as he turns. All right, Miss Campbell, I suppose you know best. And you guys go back to the barn, get the tools, and head out to fix the fence posts. And now she turns back to Ewan and she says, oh, your question. Well, not really. He was real good, hard-working man. Great husband when we first came out here. I mean, he's just a man after all, so he did have his needs that he needed fulfilled, so he'd go into town from time to time.
When he went into town, he ever seem to pick up any company? Do you ever hear much about his trips into town?
Well, not really. I know, sometimes Dusty and he would go into town, and I know they would go drinking, and, I suspected there was other things that would happen, but I never gave it much thought because he'd always come back, and he'd always be there for me when we needed him. All right, so out in the pasture, Honkway, you're far enough out where the house is kind of lost amongst a couple small hills and a little bit of trees, and you're in the pasture, walking around looking for signs of anything really unusual. So go ahead and roll a d20. And what is your observation?
12.
Okay, what'd you roll?
10.
Okay, you notice that there is signs of the pasture being worked. So someone was working on this pasture, but it's kind of old. It's obviously about a week, maybe 2 weeks of not being tended to. Starting to show signs of weeds kind of mixed in. And
right, and that's about the timeline where he disappeared.
Yep.
And is there like a specific point where it looks worse than?
Correct. Yeah, it is an unfinished job.
Do I see any footprints or horseshoe prints or
no,
tools laying on the ground?
Well, you do actually find a broken tiller, like a hand-pushed device that they use to kind of... Normally they hook it to a donkey or a horse and it pulls it along, one of those things, but it's much smaller.
Okay.
Either the horses were unavailable or sick or whatever, because he was out here apparently doing it by hand, but it's broken. This tiller thing is broken. And, you didn't see it at first because it wasn't sticking up. It was lying on the ground in a couple different pieces. It looks like it had been struck by something very large and heavy.
Really, footprints is going to be my biggest.
Give me another observation check.
Or chew on the ground or something.
Any signs of...
so 15.
15. So you actually missed it by a little bit?
Missed it by 3.
Missed it by 3. So you're putting kind of 2 and 2 together. He was out here working, wasn't even done working. Something or someone came along and destroyed the tiller and took him. You don't know if it was somebody on a horse or if somebody on foot, if it was one or many people. You don't know.
Yeah.
But there's signs of he was here working, broken tiller, gone. Foul play seems to be at hand. Any blood? None. You wouldn't be able to tell us later. No blood because it's been at least a week.
Yep. Okay.
Oren. So you and Dusty, Dutch and Dusty, going along on the horses. He's got a horse. You've got a horse.
Two dudes on a horse.
Two dudes on 2 horses, riding along, and you're kind of going down the fence line. And every once in a while, you'll stop at a post and reconnect some of the wooden posts and the wire or whatever. And he gets to asking you some questions. Well, you're an older fella. Did you fight in the war?
And I say yes.
No. And nod.
Yeah.
That's the universal yes. Yeah. Is a nod. He says, huh. And you can tell he's kind of sizing you up and trying to figure out what side of the war you fought on.
As he's doing that, I'm going to do an ocular pat down.
Yes.
Of course.
The patented OVAC ocular pat down.
And judging, is he kind of slurring his words? Is he swaying? Having a hard time on a horse?
No, he's not.
Okay.
But you can tell that, he reeks of booze bad. So he was probably up super late, getting just sloshed drunk, and doesn't bother to shower, and, stinky booze guy.
Okay.
But he doesn't appear to be drunk right now. He's not slurring or wobbly or anything like that.
So, we're just going to continue on messing around with the posts.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just kind of fast forward time for about an hour as you guys gather information, fix fence posts, search the pasture, and speak with Miss Campbell. Bits of information that you glean in this conversations and searchings for the hour. Through conversation with Miss Campbell, you find that when she went to the sheriff, he said that he didn't have the resources to do a manhunt over the scope of, he couldn't have gone anywhere. The sheriff was under the impression he just left her. And there's so much land out here in the frontier, he could have gone and things that could have happened. He doesn't have the manpower to comb the entire world looking for this guy. So he basically just said, you're SOL unless we get some sort of evidence or leads or clues. And so that's what you get from Miss Campbell. Talking with Dusty, you realize he gets frustrated with you and your gibberish, and he can't understand it. And about 15 minutes into the fence post jobs, he pulls out a bottle and starts hitting it from time to time. And through conversation with him, pretty one-sided, he starts talking about Indians and says that he's worried that there's a group, a tribe of Indians that are wandering around to the south of this homestead. He suspects that they're the ones that either killed, kidnapped, or whatever. The foul play that has gone on with Mac, he believes the Indians had something to do with it. Because he says that there is a Fort Griffin, is north of the homestead. Actually, it's northwest of Promise City. And he's like, they don't come all the way down here. And he was going to go talk to the soldiers at the fort about the Indian problem, but he'd rather just go shoot the Indians himself. And he has not seen Honkwe, by the way.
Yep.
That's true.
And Honkwe's out there walking around the pastures by himself.
Yep.
It'll be interesting when that road crosses, because that'll be...
Well, that road actually doesn't cross on your own, because Honkwe, after searching and, you kind of give up the search. You found all the stuff you're going to find, and you decide to head back to the homestead, back to the house. And so you're the first one back. As you come back to the house, you see sitting outside at a table, eating bread and drinking some tea, are Miss Campbell and Ewan. And they're just kind of having a pleasant conversation.
I'll join them.
Okay.
Slump down in a chair.
Did you find anything out, Honkwe?
Honkwe no find anything suspicious. Honkwe wonder how would plow break?
I'm sorry?
Tiller, the Honkwe wonder the push tiller.
Yeah?
How
about it?
would tiller break?
Well, you can break it. I mean, if you hit a large rock with it, it might chip the blade, or get caught on a root, and maybe I don't know. I suppose there's lots of ways a tiller could break.
Asking for friend. And then I'm just gonna sit down and nod and
okay. She has a curious look on her face, but
doze off into thought.
Accepts it politely.
Yeah.
All right. So you kind of enjoy some iced tea and some bread when you hear horses approaching. It's been about an hour and a half since you left to go work the pasture.
Which we also only have a maximum of 2 hours here.
Correct.
Right.
And some horses are approaching as you realize that Orin is coming back with Dusty. And as you guys are riding back, Orin, he's still talking about how the stupid soldiers at the fort ain't gonna do nothing about them damn engines, and I'm gonna just take matters in my own hand if I have. And he stops mid-sentence as he looks and sees sitting outside the house Ewan, Miss Campbell, and Honkwe. And he stops mid-sentence when he sees that and just brings that shotgun up and he's holding the shotgun in one hand, but it's up, and he's holding the reins in the other, and he moves the horse on.
As he brings his shotgun up, I'm going to bring up my pistol and just start riding along.
Loading it.
Loading
your smoothbore muzzle load pistol.
Because I know what's going to happen.
Okay.
Do we see this?
Yep. And you guys kind of look over, and Miss Campbell says, "Oh, they're back." And Ewan, you immediately notice that he's raising a shotgun at you guys.
I'm gonna stand up, pull out my
Are you
six
gonna
shot.
pull out your gun, or are you gonna just put your hand
You're not
on
going
your
to
gun?
tell
I guess
you're not going to tell the young lady to go inside?
I'm gonna make it extremely clear that I'm putting my hand on my gun, and I'm just gonna yell. Now you better put that shotgun down right now, boy.
Okay, as you're yelling that, he's yelling at Miss Campbell. "Get out of there, Miss Campbell! Get out of there! You got an engine on you! Don't trust them sons of bitches!" And he's moving in, and she's like, super confused, and she's standing up now, waving her hand at you, Ewan, and waving her hand at Dusty, who's very angry. She says, wait, y'all calm down right now.
Hunkway's gonna sip his tea.
You need to stop that right now with that shotgun. You put that away.
So, yeah, he gets up close enough. He's not shooting, but he gets up close enough and reins in the horse as it slides to a stop. Close behind him, you see, Orin kind of also come up and stop the horse. He's got his pistol. He's finally finished loading it. So you don't know what's going on with him either. He's got his pistol out, too. Maybe they know something about this Hunkway fella that you don't. And then you quickly realize, wait a minute, this is... Because there was that gut feeling that maybe this Indian is trouble. Pops up for a second, and you're like, whoa, no. So that's that subconscious of your old body.
Start to like turn.
But yeah, as he gets off the horse, never taking his eyes off of Hunkway, and he's got the shotgun. He's not pointing it at him anymore, but he's still got it in his hand. So all he would have to do is kind of lift it up. Then he says, I don't understand one bit what's going on here. All I see is a stinking engine here. Miss Campbell, I believe them's the one that stole Mac. I'm just going to tell you outright. Them fellers that are running around south of us, that group of them, I strongly believe that them was the ones that stole Mac.
Hunkway say how and waves.
And I say, call him a stinking engine one more time.
And he has no idea what you're saying.
Yeah.
He thinks you're on his side. You're all like raising your voice with your pistol out. He's like, yeah. So, anyway, Miss Campbell diffuses the situation. Now, Dusty, these are our guests. I don't care if he's Indian or a nigger or anything like that, but these are our guests, and they need to be treated as such. They are just human beings here to help us out in a time of need, and if you're going to start treating everybody that comes across like this, I don't want to have anything to do with you. You might as well just head on out. And he looks defeated. He was basically just put in his place by his boss, and he doesn't agree with her, but he does what she says. He lowers his shotgun all the way and says, all right, Miss Campbell, but I think you're making a big, big mistake. And he storms off into the barn. And she starts apologizing immediately. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Some people in this world, they ain't never gonna change. You just gotta. The right is the right, and if people don't see that, I fear that they're just destined to live a horrible, miserable life.
Hunkway understand and agree.
Thank you very much.
He never stood up, by the way. He's just going to go back to drinking some tea and eating some bread. I'm
sorry. Words cannot express my sorrow toward that experience that you must have felt. You can see she's kind of bothered, upset. She says, well, anyway, I appreciate your help on the fence post. Did you get much work done?
No.
We'll never know.
Okay. And she says, thank you, Mr. France, for the conversation. I hope you do find this doctor that you're looking for, and maybe if you find anything out about Mac, please let me know.
We're really hoping that we can gather crucial information about this, so we will definitely inform you if we learn anything. Would there be much for real recognizable objects should we find one that would help identify that it's Mac we're tracking?
Well, I don't know necessarily what you mean.
Wedding rings.
Like if you
anything.
Oh, heaven
unique
forbid!
to him.
Heaven forbid if you find a body. Is that what you're speaking about?
A body, or maybe just something that got dropped along the way that would be really, really identifiable as this for sure was Mac's.
His wedding ring is very specific. It has an engraving.
And what would that engraving say?
Love with all of our heart forever. So yeah, I mean, if you that's his wedding ring. I'm sure he would never depart with that.
Well, that could be helpful in case we come across something.
All right. Well, I do hope you have a safe trip back to Promise City.
It is time to roll back, boys.
Cool. Let's go.
And I wave goodbye.
Hunkway say many thanks.
Thank you very much. And once again, I apologize for my hand. He was not in the right.
Hunkway already riding off. Clip clop. Clip clop.
Okay.
Clip clop.
So you guys make haste back to Promise City just in time, and it seems like there's sort of a thing going on, because you notice that there are several people standing out in the middle of the street, outside of the saloon and stuff.
Just barrel through them, boys.
Is it like a hootenanny?
No, it's not a party.
Shindig?
There's several people have torches in their hands. Nobody's like on horses with guns out, but several people have torches up in their hands, and there's lots of shouting and yelling and pointing, and you're like, well, what?
Can we make out what they're saying at all?
Not yet. I mean, do you just kind of go into the up close to them?
Well, are they facing us?
No, well, it's a mob, so they're just kind of... There's probably about 25 people in the middle of the street, roughly in a small area, kind of yelling and...
And they're just like right on the edge of town, kind of deal?
No, they're kind of into town a little bit.
I feel like me and Honkwe should hang back and Flash go in. He's a little bit more charismatic than the other two.
I'm just trying to look at where things are in town. Maybe we just avoid them all entirely.
So you're basically just going to avoid that mob and go skirting around the edge of
I
town?
feel like we should know what's going on.
But we can gather that information without
But me
going
and
into
you
the-
shouldn't.
Correct, yeah.
And we can gather that information without going into the middle of the mob. We can get that info from the sheriff's place where we have to go for the horses. Should know what's going on.
I mean, you can get off your horse. We can get close enough to town. You get off. We take the horses back, because I know Italy,
Yeah.
where you can go in and...
Okay.
Yeah, have France mingle with the mob, and then
Yeah,
Honkwe
we'll go.
and Dutch go talk to the sheriff.
Because, Honkwe shouldn't go anywhere near a mob.
Yeah.
Like,
Let alone a guy with a shotgun. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. So, on the edge of town, Ewan gets off his horse, starts walking toward the mob kind of in town. You guys lead the horses to the livery stable, or are you going to just go straight to the sheriff's office?
The stable. where it
yeah,
was.
the stable.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get him back to the stable, and the stable hand is there, and he's like putting his riding gear on, like he's going to go somewhere. But as you approach, he's like, "Oh, y'all fellas returning them horses. I appreciate it. You are good to your word. I guess I don't have to get after Italy after all."
And I ask, what's going on in town?
Okay. He looks at you very confused. Oh.
Honkwe, too.
But Honkwe would know what I was asking.
and
Yeah, exactly. That's
Why he also is
too.
curious, yeah.
And he says, "All right, well, yeah, appreciate it. No problem."
And let's go down and talk to Italy.
I just throw my hands up in the air and walk
Out of
off
frustration.
defeated.
So, yeah, he takes the horses back in. You guys start heading over toward the sheriff's office. So, Ewan, walking up to the mob, you hear, "I think we should go after him right now. I'm 100% sure it's them damn Indians. Well, after Mac's disappearance, we thought it was just a one-time deal, but I heard that there was a scientist stole from a train. And that coupled with the fact of Betty gone, I think there's something funny going on right now. We need to get them Indians, because they're just sneaking in at night and when we're not looking, and stealing our kids and stealing our parents and stealing our uncles. And nobody's safe anymore." And it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's zero chance I'm even going to start to defuse a mob. I'm not going to call attention to myself. All I'm trying to do is be in there, seeming like I'm one of them enough to continue listening and then pass through. I'm not going to try and defuse a mob.
All right, so as you're listening and passing through, paying attention to what they're saying, so apparently, Benny has been kidnapped.
Of course he has.
It must have just happened. So, yeah. And Mr. Legrand, you do not see him out there.
Okay, well, they know that Legrand's house is where we're gonna meet up. I'm gonna continue making my way through the crowd and then go to their house.
Okay. So right as you're leaving the crowd, the sheriff walks out. And this whole mob thing is happening in front of the saloon, by the way. And the sheriff walks out of the saloon with Mr. Legrand. And the sheriff's like, "All right, now I've done had enough of all this mob mentality that's going on here. We obviously have a situation, and I'm obviously going to take care of it. The last thing we need is you citizens rising up and causing chaos That's just exactly what's going to cause more problems to happen, more accidents. Somebody's going to get hurt. And, the mob is like, yeah, it'll be the Indians. Yeah, they're stealing our babies and stealing our family. And he's like, calm down, and it's that tirade is exchanging back and forth. Mr. Legrand looks like he's just been crying for an hour straight.
So I see that Kevin is up there distraught, but given the situation, I highly doubt I'm getting any good information from him. So I'm going to actually just keep moving on, and I'm hoping that Mrs. French is still at the house.
So you're going to the assay office, the land office. Okay. So that's actually on the opposite corner of town than the stables, pretty much. So you put the horses away, give them back to the guy, and you make your way towards the sheriff's office to talk to the sheriff or whoever.
Just to tell him we returned them.
But while it's on the opposite side, it is where the three of us figured we would be meeting up.
Okay. All right. So you get to the sheriff's office, doing your best to avoid any. There's an angry mob out there, or an upset mob about something. So, doing your best to avoid people. You wind your way through the sort of the few back streets that there are, but there are still kind of shadows and back alleys. And you make your way around to the sheriff's office, which is on the main street. Okay? So you can still see the mob. It's kind of a little removed from you because they're all in front of the saloon, probably about a block and a half away. And you go into the sheriff's office. And when you go in, you see Italy there, and he's just finishing up locking up the guns. He's got like a big gun cabinet, and he's closed it and locked it up. He's obviously shaking, very nervous, afraid, and he kind of turns. He's like, "Oh, good Lord, you scared me, Dutch. I didn't know." And he immediately kind of has a worried, panicked look as he looks over at Hunkway.
No. And I just basically ask, what has you so worried?
Oh, Dutch, I don't think it's a good idea to be having an engine in town right now. That angry mob out there is blaming them for the kidnapping of little Benny.
And I ask if he can...
You don't know. This is the first you're hearing about the kidnapping of Benny.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about Benny right now. I'm more worried about my friend.
Okay.
Like if he can basically hide out here and or have like some type of clothing to kind of conceal a little bit more.
And he's like, well, I don't know if that's a good idea leaving him here. If the sheriff finds out, he'll have my hide for sure. As far as I got a big trench coat we can kind of throw over him, but I don't know how good that's going to be at concealing the fact that, he's a big fella. Dutch, I don't know that he can be around in town without being recognized. People have seen him.
And I basically ask what he suggests we do.
I would get out of town as fast as you can. Maybe head south. Maybe I don't know. If you can hide out somewhere outside of town, just till this blows over or cools down at least.
So I'm gonna head to the boarding house to get my bag, and you're gonna head on down to the...
Yeah, Hunkway will just stay in the back streets and hand over to the land office.
All right. So you're gonna... All right, so I need you to make an observation check, Hunkway.
Tied it.
Roll to 12?
Yep.
Okay. All right, and then you're gonna go to Phase, grab your stuff, grab everybody's stuff that you can, and head to the assay office. So as you make your way into Faye's boarding house, the lights are all off when you approach. But it's dinner time. It's not. The lights should not be off.
I'm gonna try and peek through a window before opening the door, just because I'm
the front window.
Yeah, maybe it's shut, like she closed it, and I'm like, what?
So I need you to make an observation check. And your observation is 16.
I tied it.
Oh, nice.
Look at us tying our observation check.
So, yeah, peeking in the front, you don't see it. Everything just looks dark, like she's not there and the lights are off. But you do notice something strange. The back of the other end of the house, looking over through the living room, the kitchen, and all the way to the back end of the house, you notice that there is a broken window.
I'm going to go around and investigate.
Okay. So you make your way around the house to the broken window in the back.
Is the glass is obviously broken on the inside. Like, do I see shards of glass on the outside?
As in, somebody from outside broke it in, not somebody
Because
from inside broke it
glass is gonna go in instead of out.
Correct. You do see a little bit of glass on the outside, but what really makes you panic is you see blood on the sharp-pointed glass of the broken glass that is still in the window. There's blood, as if somebody cut themselves going through the glass, one way or another.
Is there a door nearby?
There is a back door. All right, Ewan, you have made your way to the land office, and there are 3 gentlemen standing outside the land office. 2 of them have rifles, and one of them's just kind of, he's got a pistol 6-shooter in his holster, and they're just talking. Make an observation check for yourself.
I missed it.
You don't notice. Okay, so yeah, you just see the 3 gentlemen. 2 of them are holding rifles. One of them's got his pistol in his holster, and he's just standing there, and they're just kind of having quiet, small talk.
Okay. So my goal then will be to continue down the street and around and come back to the back
So you
door.
just kind of keep walking by?
As if I wasn't going there.
Correct.
Yep.
And then turn, go down a side area, and then kind of come up to approach the building from the back.
Yes.
Okay. So Honkwe, you make your way out of town, kind of staying hidden as best you can on the edge of town, going to make your way, taking a wide berth, going all the way around, going to make your way to the assay office.
Correct.
All right. So, Orin, or Dutch, you are checking the back door to see if it's locked.
Yep.
Ewan, Mr. France, you've made your way around the back of the assay office, and you're going to go see if you can get in through the back or whatever the situation is there. And Honkwe, you've made your way all the way around the outskirts of the city and are approaching the assay office also kind of from the back area. When all 3 of you hear the sound of a gunshot right before one of you is hit.
Ooh.
Ooh, I like that.
And we'll find out what happens next week.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Why do we all like back doors so much?
He is my wife's uncle. He has come from far away.
Also France, I'm sure.
Gustafsson? That's not a French name.
Sorry,
Oui.
my nickname's not German. Well, that sounds great. We can talk a little more inside.
All right.
Yeah, Nuggy, are you going to have sex with Brad?
Ah! All right, so...
Imaginary. It's all imaginary.
But it's dinner time. It's not... The light should not be off.
What do my dwarven eyes see?
What do your prospector eyes see?
A dark house.